Okay, guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to look at how we can solve word problems using systems of equations. Now, keep in mind that you have to choose which type of system you are going to use. Are you going to graph it on your calculator? Are you going to use substitution? Are you going to use elimination? So that's where we're going to go with this. All right, number 1. Yolanda and Marissa both babysit. Yolanda charges $5.50 an hour. Marissa charges a base rate of $20 an hour $20 plus 50 cents an hour. So for letter A, for each girl, write an equation. Showing how the charge depends on the babysitting time. So Yolanda, her equation is going to be $5.50 per hour. And Marissa, her equation is going to be $20 plus 50 cents plus 50 cents an hour. All right, letter B. For what times are Marissa's charges less than Yolanda's? So, what would we do here? How would we figure out for what times are Marissa's charges less than Yolanda? I'll tell you what I did first is I set these two equations, I set them equal to each other. And then I found that when I did that, I solved for H. And H equaled 4. And what that told me is that this was the time, I don't know what that is. This is the time for which Yolanda and Marissa charged the same amount. So 4 hours would be the answer here. And I'll go ahead and write out the steps in the equation I used. Equals $20 times 50 cents per hour. Now this is much like substitution. And then I found that I got 4 hours. And then what I did is I went on my graphing calculator to y equals, and I punched in Yolanda, her equation, and then Marissa's equation, and then I graphed it. And then I figured out for what times are Marissa's charges less than Yolanda's by looking at my table of values. And I scrolled down and looked at my table of values, and I got 5 hours and above. Okay. If you have any questions, please come and ask me. Always ask a buddy, your peer buddy. Letter B. Raj's age is 1 year less than twice Sarah's age. Tony's age is 2 years less than 3 times Sarah's age. All right, so what I need to do is I need to set up some equations. I know that Sarah is going to equal X. And then I know that Raj is going to be 2X minus 1. And then Tony is going to be 3 times X minus 2. If you have a hard time coming up with these these equations, please come and ask me for help. Now it asks, suppose Sarah's age is S years, and instead of S, we're using X. What is Raj's age in terms of X? So you would write the equation 2 times S minus 1. How old is Tony in terms of S? 3 times S minus 2. How old are Raj, Sarah, and Tony if the sum of their ages is 21? So what I'm going to do here is I've got to combine all of these equations. I'm going to use S for Sarah, 2S minus 1, plus 3S minus 2, and they all equal 21. And then I combine and solve for S. 6S minus 3 equals 21. And of course, I'll get S equals 4. Now, if S equals 4, how old is Raj? Well, Raj is going to be 2 times 4 minus 1, which is 7 years old. And Tony is going to be 3 times 4 minus 1, which is 11 years old. Letter C. Find the value of two numbers if their sum is 12 and their difference is 4. So my first equation for letter C is going to be find the value if their sum is 12. So my first equation is going to be x plus y equals 12. And their difference is 4. Okay. Now, to solve this equation, I would use substitution. And I would rewrite both equations, y equals mx plus b form, or the x equals ky plus c form. Okay, so this first one's going to be y equals 12 minus x. The second one's going to be negative y equals 4 minus x. I can't keep my variable as a negative, so I'm going to divide by negative 1 to get y equals negative 4 plus x. Okay? Now from here, if you remember from yesterday, what do? And this is a 4 plus x here. You set them equal to each other. So I'm going to set 12 minus x equal to -4 plus x. Then you go ahead and solve for x. You should get 2x equals 16. X equals 8. Now that we have x, we need to plug in x into one of our original equations here. So if x is 8, y equals 4. So x is 8, y is 4. All right. Letter D. The school Stefan goes to is selling tickets to a choral performance. On the first day of the ticket sales, the school sold 3 senior citizen tickets and 1 child ticket for a total of $38. The school took in $52 on the second day by selling 3 senior citizen tickets and 2 child tickets. Find the price of a senior citizen ticket and the price of a child ticket. So my first equation is going to represent the first scenario, and that is going to be 3x plus y equals 38. The second scenario is 3x plus 2y equals 52. Now, when you delegate what you're looking for, senior citizen ticket and a child ticket, you have to figure out which one is going to represent your x and which one's going to represent your y. So, in this case, my x's are the senior citizen tickets and my y's are the child tickets. All right, so just by looking at the system of equation, which method would you use? I would go ahead and subtract. You're right. I'm going to subtract, and that gets rid of my x values. Y minus 2y is a -1y. 38 minus 52 is a -14. Y equals 14. Now I need to plug my y value into one of the original equations to get my x value. 3x plus 14 equals 38. Solve for x. X equals 8. So that means that it was $8 for a senior citizen ticket, and then it was $14 for a child's ticket. Okay, guys, last one. The senior class at High School A and High School B planned separate trips to New York City. The senior class at High School A rented and filled one van, and 6 buses with 372 students. High School B rented and filled 4 vans and 12 buses with 780 students. Each van and each bus carried the same number of students. How many students can a van carry? How many students can a bus carry? All right, so instead of using X and Y, this time I used V and B. My first equation represents my first scenario, which is 1V plus 6B equals 372 students. My second equation is 4V plus 12B equals 780 students. Now, if you look at your system of equation, you have to think to yourself, what should I do here? Should I add, subtract, substitute? What I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the first equation by 4, and then I'm going to cancel my V variables. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4 here to get 4V plus 24B equals 1,488. Now I'm going to bring down my second equation. And now I look at my system and I think to myself, I need to subtract these to get rid of the V's. And then carry on. 24 minus 12 is 12B equals 708. B equals 59. Now I need to figure out how many people the vans will hold. So I'm going to plug in B as in boy into my original equation to solve for V. 1V plus 6 times 59 equals 372. I go ahead and solve for V as in Victor, and I get V equals 18. So the vans hold 18 people, and the buses hold 59. Okay, guys, in front of you is your practice problems that you need to work through. There are a total of 11. So what I would like for you to do now is to go ahead and work through all 11 and do as many as you can. And whatever you do not finish is for homework. Please come see me for any questions that you may have. Right now is a good time to pause your work, the video, and go ahead and work through the problems. I'm going to put the answers on the, post the answers, but I'm not going to work through these. So pause the video now and get. Okay, number 1, 4 and 8. Number 2, 5 and 8. 3, plane is 135 kilometers per hour. Wind is 23 kilometers per hour. 4, we already did that one in the practice. You should have gotten $8 for senior citizens and $14 for children's tickets. 5 is 34. 6 is 12 and 9. 7, we already did number 7. Oh, no, we didn't. We did number 8. I'm sorry. Number 7 is the vans are 8 and the buses are 22. No, number 8 we've already done. 18 and 59. 9 is 4 and 7. 10 is 7 and 13. 11 is 26 and 2. Now I'm going to move on to the homework. Okay, guys. If you remember, we learned about geometric sequences. And you also learned about arithmetic sequences, geometric, or neither. Now, if you remember, arithmetic sequences means that we're adding. Geometric means that we are multiplying. Number 1, decide if this is arithmetic, geometric, or neither. Number 1 is geometric. And we are multiplying by -1/9. Okay? Number 2, how do I decide what kind of sequence it is? Now, if you remember, you take any one of the consecutive numbers that are right by each other, subtract or divide them to see what you're subtracting or dividing by. Now, if it doesn't work for the others, then it's neither. So if I subtract -200 and 100, I should get a -300. So now I know that this is not arithmetic. It's not this one. Now I could divide -200 by 100 and you will get -100. And that doesn't apply to this one here, to the next term in the sequence. So the answer is neither. Now remember, in order for you to figure out what these sequences are, it has to apply to each term. Number 3, which of these sequences are geometric sequences? Select all that apply. Go ahead and do number 3 by yourself. All right, the answers are this one, this one, and that's it. The other 2 are arithmetic. Number 4, what is the common ratio for this geometric sequence? Common ratio is the number that you multiply by each time to get the next term in the sequence. Okay, now to figure out your common ratio or your common difference, remember you take any 2 consecutive numbers, divide them to see what your common ratio would be. So for example, 26 divided by 13 gives me 2. 52 divided by 26 is 2. And so on, so my answer is 2. Go ahead and do numbers 5 through 8 by yourself. Pause the video and work through those, and then we're going to check your answers. Number 5, you should have gotten a common ratio of 6/10, and the next term in the sequence is 21 and 6/10. Okay, so for number 6, I have to find the next terms in the sequence. So what you're going to do is you're going to divide the consecutive terms to find the common ratio and then multiply each term by that number. -90 divided by 30 gives you a -3. Now, so we know that this is a geometric sequence. However, we can't multiply by a -3 and get the next term. you're dividing by a negative 3, which is the same as multiplying by a negative 1/3. So negative 90 times negative 1/3 is 30. 30 times a negative 1/3 is negative 10. 10 times a negative 1/3 is going to be negative 10/3. And then negative 10/3 times a negative 1/3 is going to be a positive 10/9. Okay. This next one, number 7. I want you to go ahead and skip number 7. And number 8 will be our last one. With these sequences, we write explicit formulas. The explicit formula for the sequence below is next equals now times 4 starting at negative 2. Is this true or false? Yes, it starts at negative 2. That is my starting point. Is the common ratio positive 4? Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 4 is negative 32. Negative 32 times 4 is negative 128. So yes, that's true.